because I haven't been able to get any remedy for being violated by the police department. They deny law enforcement, and I have multiple different false arrests. I thought you should be aware of that, and then I have a misdemeanor listed as a felony. So
Okay, have you seen your criminal history from DPS yet?
No.
Have you seen your full history?
Are you able to email it to me?
Yeah, I was going to.
Okay.
I like for you guys to have this, especially since we already pulled it for your application, so it's good for you guys to know what's on there.
Right.
So it's pretty much exactly.
So what were you able to, you're going to send it to me now?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. If you give me just a couple minutes, I'm going to email it.
Yes, your representative said that you also do evictions?
Yes, I mean our firm does. It's a whole separate application, but yes, our firm does assist with evictions if you have in fact been served with an eviction. But if you want some quick advice, I'm happy to talk to you real quickly. If you haven't got to that point yet, like I said, I'm happy to talk to you.
And there's also a ticket that I don't know if it's on my record. I'm like for you, I'm sure you have that information. You have information if there's a warrant out for me, right?
We can help with that as well, but also, yes, another separate application if it is something that you want our help with, but we can talk about it too.
You pulled the information from DPS? You already pulled the information from DPS?
From their website, yes.
Is it a warrant?
It's a public website.
Is it a warrant, ma'am?
You can pull it.
Is it a warrant?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in it right now.
Oh, you looked at it to represent me?
History stuff.
I thought you said you were going to...
I haven't looked at it.
Oh,
I haven't looked at it yet. The things I have for you is just for your criminal history. We don't have an application for you for your license issue. Did you put in 2 applications?
Can you repeat that?
Did you put in an application for driver's license assistance?
I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. I was explaining to you that there was a warrant out for my arrest and there are crimes being committed with my license. But they were trying to me. I'm getting railroaded. They want me to send. I'm not able to communicate. If you're going to be the attorney representing me, they're committing crimes and have some kind of medical release. I've already paid money. Each direction that I go, someone creates havoc and keep me from getting things resolved.
I know, just hold on. Before you go into detail about that, what I was asking is, so the driver's license, that warrant you're talking about, that's a separate issue.
I have a driver's license warrant. I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. This pattern happens.
I know, that's what
it just happened with the case manager here. She's talking about something that didn't happen. All these areas, there's conflict. She blamed me for something that literally didn't happen. It won't give me hope, period.
No.
And lies about services.
That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is I have no idea what's going on with your license. I didn't look at that.
Okay, well, I was speaking of charges, wanting to know if there was something regarding an arrest for me, and then you kind of deflected and talked about a license. So I didn't know what you were speaking of.
No, that's what I mean. You asked about a driver's license.
No, I did not, ma'am.
Right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought you said a warrant.
Yeah, a warrant.
For a license issue. Or like a ticket. That's a driver's license issue.
What happened was I was trying to...
Wait, that's one thing. Don't tell me about it yet. I don't need the facts for that yet. I will get to that.
Well, I thought you needed to know the facts to know what happened and what would be on the record.
Right, but we're not to that. So again, I need that's a separate application because
you don't know what it is. You're not making sense, ma'am. If I can't tell you what it's about, how would you know it's separate? You don't know what's happening. You won't let me speak.
Confirm for me. Did you just say it was a traffic ticket warrant, right?
No, I'm trying to tell you what happened and you didn't want to hear it. No, it's not a traffic ticket. I like to tell you what happened.
Okay, well, can we start with the criminal history first, and then you can tell me about that?
I'd really like to tell you what happened, why it's fresh. This happens years, man. People go all over the place and deflect on things that I'm trying to report. I've had to endure that.
Okay,
that's
well,
a form of abuse.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what happened was I was trying to report interference with child custody crimes and that police were committing. So I called someone, tried to call 911 on the police for repetitively keep committing crimes to keep me in abuse and keep me away from my child. So they gave me a ticket and malice. So I was in jail on false charges. They wouldn't release me with time served, which is kidnapping. So then I don't know if it turned into arrest or what happened, but it was corruption why I even got the ticket. You can't give someone a ticket for reporting crimes, and they did. That's criminal, right? For police to abuse power and give someone a ticket for reporting crimes, is that criminal for the police to do that? the police department?
It just depends. I have to know the facts of the situation. Like I said, I didn't
Yeah,
look
it's
at
really
this at all.
difficult when you
It's
talk.
not,
Everyone you talk to is covering for crimes. If police give you a ticket for reporting crimes, based on that, is that criminal?
again, I would have to see what the actual charge was. So when I see the charge, then we can talk more about it. But that's why I was saying, let's cover this other thing first
I
that
don't
we were
know. For
talking about when I
6 years,
first got on
it's
the
been
call.
impossible for me to get legal remedy and real facts and legitimate advice. Sincere advice.
Right.
But go ahead,
We can
ma'am.
talk about it.
Go ahead,
We
ma'am.
will get there. We can definitely talk about it. I just need us to do one thing at a time,
Okay.
right? So everything has its own place in the conversation that we're having. You've just brought up 3 different things. I know to you it's not 3 different things. Actually, you brought up 4 different things.
Okay, ma'am.
To
That's
you, it's
fine. If
not
you
4
could just tell
different
me
things.
about the paper that you have,
Okay.
and did you send? Were you able to
So
send it?
let's start. Yeah, we're starting there. We're going to start with but I want to pull up the Dallas record as well so you can have that.
Did you send it
So
yet,
just
ma'am?
give me 1 second.
You still sending it?
I'm about to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I inform you that I had 20 false arrests? That's a lot.
I don't have 20. It's not that much. We have 6, but they're all dismissals out of Dallas, so that's a good thing. We can definitely get that taken off as if it never happened.
What about the felony
I
that
know.
people have been trying to keep me from because someone paid for it? And I'm just trying to show a pattern of people conspiring with this abuser. I think that something was amiss, and they gave me a felony for a misdemeanor charge. And people are trying to make me go with that so these people don't get felonies or consequences for doing that. So I think that that's imperative, that I'm not charged for a felony charge for a misdemeanor crime.
But we can talk about it again if you'd like. So what whoa, okay. Sex function and non-disclosure. And this is not related to your Dallas charges. Your Dallas charges do have some things eligible. I'm sorry, my computer is just kind of this one.
You said all the misdemeanors and felonies.
That you were actually convicted for were straight
all of them
instead of your.
Okay, how many felonies do you see?
I mean, okay, I can go over that.
Yeah, it shows in Denton. It shows, ma'am. As soon as I started to talk, you started to talk with me. This is a pattern. As soon as I started to speak. Okay, so right now I don't know how many felonies. I'll let you speak, ma'am, since I'm not able to speak.
No, I said go ahead.
Okay, so on this form, it shows that for Denton, it shows a misdemeanor, but it's coming up as a felony.
Okay, let's go through it and then see if I can't clarify some of this. Like I said, this document's really hard to read, and if it still sounds wrong, let's go over each one individually. That way, there's no confusion. So the first one, a Class A misdemeanor. This case was transferred to the Denton County District Attorney's Office. The charge from the District Attorney's Office was forgery to defraud or harm of another. It stayed at a level misdemeanor Class A. There's the statute for the charge. And let's see how it ended. Oh, apparently there was another charge for theft of property.
No, it was only one charge. I was a cashier and wasn't very bright, and my friend came through writing hot checks, and they charged me with it. So I didn't even know that if someone else was writing hot checks, I'm not being heard. You're the attorney. So I didn't even know that if someone else was writing hot checks, I wasn't accustomed to being a customer service person. Doing cashier. I thought that would be on her, but they charged me with it too. But it was a misdemeanor, and then they have 2 charges. See, I have been getting stalked for a lot longer than I thought. I have no clue. My life has been really abnormal. It's
Okay.
just really strange. But anyway, there wasn't two charges. There was only one. So we need to dispute that felony that's on there.
Okay, so this is what I have to tell you what's on here first, and then we can talk about what's possible and not possible. Keep in mind, once this case is closed and you've accepted the conviction, served the time, paid the fine, whatever the case may be, you can't then go back and contest it.
That doesn't make
Does that make
sense,
sense?
ma'am. You
If you
can't charge
wanted,
someone in corruption for two offenses when there was just one misdemeanor. No matter how long it's been, you're mistaken. That's criminal for them to
no,
try to
I'm
charge
not.
me for a felony, and I did not. The statute is for a misdemeanor, and for them to take bribes and then change it is criminal. You're mistaken. You can change it if someone was doing something that's unethical and charged me for something that didn't happen. There was only one charge, not two.
So you can say you could have done something. I'm not saying you never could have. I'm saying now you can. You could have done so. Your attorney at the time that was defending you during your criminal case, they should have been the ones to
I'm not
contest
being
it.
heard, ma'am. It's
If they
impossible to
would
give
have,
someone a charge for something that didn't happen and try to make them stick with something that didn't happen. Just like the lady just blamed me here for something that didn't happen. I'm completely oblivious while she's starting an argument and all this insanity I have to endure. It did not happen, so why can't we just do something and request an expungement because it didn't happen? If they can't furnish
so
evidence,
this
they
is
have
what
to
I'm
take it
trying
off.
to tell you. Did you tell that to your attorney at the time? Because they are the ones who could have done it. We cannot do it after the fact.
I'm
Because the
not
case
being
is
heard,
closed.
ma'am. It did the charge was the misdemeanor,
I
ma'am.
hear you.
The other charge
I
didn't
hear you.
happen.
Right. I hear you, but it looks like it says here, and again, this is not what I
If
did.
my
We
abuser's
didn't do
controlling
this
the
to you.
experience, ma'am, my abuser's
I'm
controlling
saying,
everything. Okay, if I have to accept something, like they put something on my driver's record, put something on everything, and nothing's being done, there's no felonies. Okay, ma'am, if I have to stay
no,
with
but
that
I'm saying
charge,
like
if you're
you
saying
had.
that he gets to get his money's worth, that's fine. If you can't
No,
do
what I'm
anything
saying
about
is,
that, there's no need in us arguing.
Okay, but I'm just telling you, your attorney. You had an attorney, right, during your case
You're my
when you
attorney
were
now, and
arrested.
I'm explaining to you it didn't happen, and you should be trying to file something and stating that was not a legitimate charge to get it off, but instead you
Okay,
want to
well
cover
you're right.
for it, like everyone else that calls me on my phone. If you're unwilling to treat me like I'm supposed to be treated and file something showing a motion or do something stating that was not a legitimate charge, then you're not unwilling to do it, like everyone else in my environment. I just have to obtain enough
Okay, then let's
evidence
just
that
move
someone
on.
is railroading me and I'm trapped off
Let's
into
move
an
on to
extensive amount of
Louisville.
abuse. But okay, ma'am.
Okay, then
So
let's just move on from Louisville to Denton.
yeah,
So
he
I think
paid
they
for
already
it, or
have
whoever
you
paid for that
Denton charged.
charge, and he's unwilling to have people take do anything regarding that because he wants that on my record, forcing me to have a felony for a misdemeanor charge. I got it, ma'am.
And then, so the next one is the Denton charge from 2004. Your date of sentencing was September 2000.
Yeah, it changed to a felony. It's a misdemeanor charge, and crimes are being committed, and nothing's repetitively done. You can just charge someone with a felony to hijack and ruin their lives, and everyone they talk to conspires with it and blatantly lies to stick them with what was paid for me to get. I let these things upset me, and then everyone on the planet, there's nothing we can do. Nothing we can do for 6 years. Nothing. Over 6 years. Okay, ma'am. So you're telling me that as an attorney and trying to get things expunged and off my record, you're unwilling to do anything regarding a charge that was supposed to be a misdemeanor that they put in malice as a felony.
We can switch and go to the ones we can help you with, but
I don't understand why you're not able to help with that, ma'am, as well as no other attorney. I think something's amiss.
Well,
I think
trying
someone
to explain,
paid for it and
I'm
controlling any avenue I have to get help.
I
That's
understand
pretty.
it's frustrating,
Just can't just imagine
I'm
how I would
sorry
feel
that
to be forced to have a felony, and it's a misdemeanor.
I understand. I do understand, and I know that it's very frustrating. You are not the only client I've had in this situation, and that's why I'm trying to explain to you. Like, if I could do something for you, I'd be more than happy to help.
Well, did you file anything, or did you do anything to let them know that it's not a legitimate charge and dispute it?
Which is what I'm trying to tell you. The time for that has passed. your attorney on the case should have did
If
that.
it's not a legitimate
This is
charge, you
really, if you
can't
really
force someone to
feel,
take a charge on their record if it's not legitimate. There's no
but
expiration date or no
you and your
statute of
attorney,
limitation. If there's someone's falsifying
right?
documentation in court records, that's criminal. So I imagine they don't want anyone digging off in that to expose criminal activity. You just can't change a misdemeanor to a felony, and I thought you would know that being an attorney. But no one wants to take
I
on that.
have to,
No
I
one
have to
wants
ask
attorneys
you
digging
something.
off into that because people would get felony charges for altering documentation. So each attorney
Ms.
and
Clark,
everybody I
I
talk to
gave
on
you
my
the
phone
respect of
is covering
listening.
for crimes
I'm
and
asking
talking
for
while
the
I'm
same.
talking.
Right, Ms. Clark, I gave you time to talk multiple times. You still have not allowed me to. So if you
So
would
they
like
do
to
this
be heard,
purposely
please
to
interview as
upset when
well.
he's mad. He has people call me,
I
control,
don't want
and
to
then
upset
upset
you.
me.
I genuinely want to help you, but the conversation is not going to be productive if you don't listen as well.
I
I
listen
will
to
listen to
you,
you.
and I'm
I
trying to give
promise.
you an idea that even no matter how old it is, you didn't like the fact that I said that people would rack up felonies for altering court documentation, which is criminal.
I
You
have
tried to then drown that
I
out
have
and
no
talk while I
opinion.
was talking to cover for it. And if my representation keeps covering for crimes, how will that benefit me? Even trying to hire
Again,
someone in person.
I had nothing to do with that case. I don't have any
But
part of it. I have no
you have
qualms
as a
in the
you're
direction it
helping
goes.
me with it, get things off my record, and if it didn't happen, then you should be helping me get file motions or whatever you have to file to dispute that being on my record. But you're unwilling to do it.
Okay, why don't we talk about the stuff we can expunge?
Well,
Let's switch to
a
that.
felony is
Let's
pretty
switch to that.
crucial. I don't want a felony to continue to have a felony for a misdemeanor charge. And I don't want everyone in my
shouldn't have
environment
signed.
lying and keeping sticking me with a felony, and it's supposed to be a misdemeanor. And then
Then why did
everyone
you
I
sign the
talk
court order when the case was disposed?
is
If
deliberate.
you didn't want to do it, why didn't you fight it with your attorney? Because that
I didn't
would have
know,
been the time
ma'am.
to do it.
I didn't know. But it's
Okay,
right
and
now it's
that's what I'm saying.
2024, and they just can't tack on a charge for nothing, and then or take someone's freedom 20 times
You
in
shouldn't. At the
corruption.
end of the day, you can't turn back time. You
But
should
you
not
can
have signed the
dispute that it
order.
didn't
Your
happen.
conviction was based.
You
They
can
didn't
dispute
force
that it
you
didn't
to sign,
happen. If they can't furnish
but you
documentation,
signed it.
never
You
mind, ma'am.
pled guilty.
He
You
paid for
signed
it. He
the
gets his
document
money's
pleading
worth.
guilty.
Whoever paid for it,
Well,
they get their
because
money's worth.
I understand what you would like to happen, but you can't just wish something to be
That's
true.
not true, ma'am.
It's
If there's
not
someone is
you.
committing crimes in a case, they can be held accountable. But you're not hearing that.
Okay,
It's criminal
think of it in terms of a contract.
It's criminal to alter court documents and give someone a felony for a misdemeanor, and you're covering
But it
for it.
wasn't altered. You signed for it. You agreed to that with your attorney when
If
the
you
case
see
was
the
disposed
misdemeanor
back in
and it was only one
2004.
charge, if it's a misdemeanor, it doesn't matter. You can't change and then try to alter documents and to take advantage of someone and their ignorance of the court system. The bottom line is it's a misdemeanor. You can't change it to a felony out of taking bribes and being corrupt, no matter if it's 60
Except
years.
there is a document with that felony charge and your signature next to it.
But it
saying
still
that you
doesn't
accept
matter.
the
It's
charge.
still a misdemeanor charge, and they should not have taken advantage of me and
But you signed
and
for
then
the
put on
felony.
a felony if it's a misdemeanor charge. That's what I'm trying to
You signed
inform
for
you
the
of.
felony conviction.
Okay, never mind,
You
ma'am. If
signed
I
for
get
the
the call,
felony.
they're going to cover for it. Okay, ma'am. What can you do? You're not going to dispute that charge.
Okay.
That shouldn't be on there
So
and sticking me with a felony.
We're just not even. Yeah, let's just move on to the things we can help with. Let's
Okay.
not even discuss the things we can't, because I
But
know
I
it's
don't
upsetting
understand
you.
as an attorney why you don't understand that altering court documents is criminal, and they can't do that.
I'm going to be honest. I don't want to go through the explanation again if you're not going to listen to me and think that I've done 400 expunges and non-disclosures. There are very few people more knowledgeable and experienced than I am in the entire state of Texas, and that's because this is my specialty, and that's why your case was sent to me. And so I'm telling you right now, even if you had $1 million and you paid a dozen attorneys to fight this for you, the outcome is what I'm telling you. Nothing can be done because you signed the order. You could have done something at the time of the charge and your case. Those cases last a year minimum. So over the 2 years it probably took for you to have that felony conviction, you could have done something. Now, after the fact, years after the fact, in fact, you want me to do something, and that is impossible. There is a statute of limitations, you are correct, but that statute of limitations applies to your conviction that you pled to. Once you pled guilty and done, the case is closed. The statute of limitations doesn't even matter because statute of
There's no
limitations
statute of
only applies
limitations with
to
criminal
arrest
activity.
convicted
There's no
cases.
statute of
Right.
limitations when it
For
comes to criminal
but it's
activity.
not criminal if you sign the order. It's not criminal if you sign the
It
order.
is
You
criminal
signed
if
that
they
order.
alter documents and try to take advantage of me on a misdemeanor charge, purposely committing crimes and
might be
altering
right.
court documentation and taking bribes. There's
And
no statute. Ma'am, why are you covering for it,
you
ma'am?
may be right. No, I'm not covering. I don't know them. Why would
Okay,
I
I'm
cover
letting
them?
you
I
know
don't know
there's
them.
no
That's not
statute of
my
limitations.
family. I don't care about them.
Ma'am,
I'm not covering for them. What I'm trying to tell you is there's
this
nothing
happens
to be done now.
repetitively, ma'am. If everyone I call and that calls me on my phone is covering for crimes and corrupt and taking bribes or whatever is happening, is being conspirators, makes them conspirators and criminal activity. There's no statute of limitations when it comes to criminal activity and court documentation. There's no statute of
Okay,
limitations.
let's just move
But
on
what
to
I
the
think is
assumptions
going
that we
on,
can do.
someone don't want attorneys digging into these charges for corrupt government officials, so people blatantly lie to me. But you want to change the topic after I informed you there's no statute of limitations when it comes to criminal activity. So if they have altered documents
So
and
the
took
charges
bribes,
we can help with.
I'm informing you of the law,
charges we
ma'am,
can
and
help
you're
with.
you're deflecting. I don't want to have
because
a
you're
felony.
I can't help you with that. That's just the long and short of it. So let's move on to
Okay,
the things
so
I
when
can
it comes
help
to
you
criminal activity by government officials, nothing can be done. They can't get their charges.
with. Not in this situation, no.
I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. No matter who you are, you can't go off in there, alter documents, and try to catch someone slipping and give them a felony when it's a misdemeanor charge, and then deprive that person of getting legal representation years, and then have con artists call her and that's covering for crimes and all kind of other abuse. I'm not saying that you are, ma'am, but that's a pattern that has followed me. You're mistaken. If there's criminal activity in court records and documentation, there's no statute of limitations for that. They can always get their charges,
I can go over
which is
what
why
we
you
can,
have been
we can help
informed to
you
not
with.
do
If you
anything
still
about
want
it,
our help,
so they won't get their charges.
you're more than welcome to try to find somebody that can help you.
I
if that's
can't. No one's
possible,
getting
but I'm
charges for
telling you
these
it's not.
felonies. I've tried to hire attorneys. They do the same thing you do. Are dishonest and deflect when it comes to when I give them real legal, what the real procedure is. They deflect and then won't help me, so these people can get their money worth and not get accountability. So you're trying to make me believe that someone can take a bribe, give someone a felony for a misdemeanor, and then they just have to stay with it. No, you can report misconduct. I told you I had 20 false arrests, and you want to argue with me and cover for it. That's vital. If you know that these people are deliberately trying to railroad me and you're my legal representation, don't conspire with it. And they
Number one,
deny someone of their rights and deny someone of their rights and hindering the case is criminal. And if someone is deliberately trying to sabotage my ability to flee from this chaos, that's criminal and a conspiracy. So if each avenue I turn is conspiring with crimes, what in the world am I supposed to do? So you just tell me what you're willing to do. I just told you that people have committed crimes. I have 20 false arrests, and that was not a legitimate charge. It was a misdemeanor, and they have concocted a felony out of corruption. And you're claiming that there's nothing that you can do. You can't report misconduct. You can't notify anyone as an attorney that someone has altered court documents again.
No. Can we go over the charges we can help with?
Okay. They get their money's worth. They don't get their felonies.
So you have some charges out of Dallas County that were dismissed. Those charges we can have expunged. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. They're all for criminal trespass. The first one is from September 10th, 2019. The next one is from it's taking a minute to load.
I just don't know how many other ways that I would have to beg for my life. I feel like a black woman before the civil rights movement.
The next one is for July 3rd, 2019. Another one from August 21st, 2019. And another one, there's 3 more.
You see the criminal trespass at the domestic violence organization? Where I got assaulted at New Beginnings, Garland, Texas.
I can't see the charging instrument. I'm just going over the offenses with you. Either way, like I said, we can get this expunged. So
if you don't know that information, then I don't understand how it would be fruitful to obtain it if you don't know where it's coming from. You just have the charges and you can't see where it came from?
I can get the record, and I will when I file your expunction. But right now, I'm just looking at whether or not it's eligible based on the actual
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that people have my best interest at heart, and if I get their calls, they don't. Okay, ma'am.
Right, but the outcome is what you want. So, like I said,
no, because you're covering for the criminal activity, someone altering court documents, which is criminal, and telling me there's nothing. You want me to believe that there's nothing I can do to report misconduct and felonies on my case. So, like prearranged, you can't dig off into the case like prearranged before this call, so they don't get their felonies. But they gave me one in corruption.
Okay, well, for these 6 charges, as I said, another one from October 2019, 2020, from August 30th, 2000, and then finally from December 22nd.
So let me make sure I understand. Because, hold on one second. Ma'am, you can't hear me? Ma'am. So you're looking at...
I just wanted to finish what I was saying.
I just wanted to comment on what you were saying before you finished, before I lose my train of thought.
Great, go ahead.
Okay, so, and looking at these, we were supposed to be going over them together. I only see 2 things. So which is the one that you're looking at right now?
I'm now looking at the other document that says Kiana Clark, Dallas County.
Okay.
Criminal history.
Let me get on the same page with you. Okay.
Okay, and then
hold on. Let me be on the same page. Can we please be on the same page? Okay. So harm of another. 12/13/2003, harm of another. Okay, I see.
You're looking at a different document. That's not the document I'm looking at now. That's the other document that I moved on from.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to be on the same page. Let me look up Dallas so we can be looking at the same thing. Yes, so the driver's license suspended, when was that?
That, I believe, was from...
Yes, I would. But as for, can you instruct me as an attorney for someone taking bribes and going in there altering court documents? Since you are unwilling to assist with that, that is not correct. If someone alters court documents, you can't force someone to take charge because of someone's criminal activity. There's no statute of limitations when it comes to criminal activity. If someone is altering court documents, they don't put in a statute.
In the cases that I see on your record, the felonies that I see, there's nothing.
How many felonies do you see?
Okay, let me go back to that document. Just give me a second.
So with your legal advice is if someone took bribes and altered court documents, you just have to stay with it and you don't report that to anyone to get it, them charges for taking bribes and giving someone a felony for a misdemeanor.
My legal advice is nothing can be done with your felony convictions that are on your record because you.
How many felony convictions? You keep saying felonies. So you're saying as an attorney that if I have 20 false, ma'am, I don't understand why no one I talk to is understanding about someone's freedom taken 20 times in corruption. Everywhere, if someone is deliberately controlling my environments and railroading people in a conspiracy, that's a felony. Well, railroading me in a conspiracy, that's felony. So you said you can do nothing, but if people took bribes and altered court documents, that's criminal. Why don't you want them to have their accountability?
Because you pled guilty. That's why I can't do anything.
It doesn't matter if I pled guilty or not. If I did not realize that they were having me sign.
That is exactly what matters. That is
they
what
can't
matters because you
change
pled
documents.
Guilty. Somebody else didn't plead guilty for you. You did. You pled guilty, and you swore to
the misdemeanor, not a felony.
You raised your right hand. these documents show that your name, your signature is next to the felony
It doesn't
charge
matter.
in the order.
It doesn't matter because if it's a criminal, a misdemeanor, they can't just change it to a felony and then slide documentation like they did with my sister, giving her power of attorney and hope that I don't realize it and sign it. At that point, I was ignorant and thought I could trust the government. I did not know that they altered court documents and changed a misdemeanor to a felony for profit. But I like to inform people of that. I told you I have 20 false arrests. So who do I report that someone was despicable and underhanded enough to alter documents and play games and have me sign paperwork to give me a felony when it was supposed to be a misdemeanor? Who do I report that misconduct to?
The best you can do is report your attorney at the time if you think they made a mistake. It's their job.
I'm not being heard, ma'am. If someone alter court, ma'am, please, you're supposed to be giving me legal advice. I have 20 false arrests that, yes, and that shows if I have 20, can I please speak, ma'am? Can I please speak?
Are you going to say the same thing you've been saying for the last hour?
I don't know why these calls are so psychologically abusive, ma'am. Why no one that I speak with on my phone and in my environment has any compassion for someone's freedom being taken 20 times, kids, and nothing's repetitively done. So I'm asking you.
Clark, I want to help you, but you're making it difficult. I will close your case. I have no problem doing that, but I want to help you. And right at this point, you're taking time away.
I don't have rights, ma'am. People take control of the call. You have the control. I don't, ma'am.
I'm trying to answer your question.
Yeah, I don't have the control. You want to control me and will not do anything regarding their misconduct? Okay, ma'am. I don't have rights. I need you to take the other madness that's off on my record. Go ahead. If you're trying to take control of the call and enforce that these people don't get accountability, I don't have no other choice. Like I haven't had 6 years. The ball's in your court. There's so many felonies all over the place keeping me from services. I don't have rights. So if you want to take control of the call and want to enforce these people don't get their charges, that's what has to happen. They haven't for all this time. Okay, ma'am. The ball's in your court. We'll discuss what you want to discuss. This is a person that doesn't have rights.
We already did. I'm pretty much done. So at this point, if you want us to do the expunctions, I'll have my paralegal Patricia contact you to fill out the paperwork. All we'll need is we'll break down your finances. You'll have to sign a couple documents, including a citizenship verification, a verification confirming who you are for the actual expunction, and then a financial affidavit so we can get your filing fee waived. And then there will also be a retainer agreement. At that point, I will be your attorney. As I said earlier, I am technically not officially your attorney until we have a retainer signed by both you and me. I am more than happy to represent you on specifically the 6 expunctions that we just discussed that were eligible according to the criminal statutes of Texas. Those 6 expunctions that we discussed are in Dallas County. They are for criminal trespass, criminal trespass, criminal trespass, criminal trespass. Specific 6 charges in Dallas County are what we will be representing you for and nothing else that we can represent you for and apply for expunction, which should be granted because it is eligible. Do you have any questions about those 6 charges?
No, ma'am, I don't have rights. I'm very grateful that you're helping me with those. But like I said, they have to get their money's worth. They can't get their felonies. They're controlling my phone. No one will believe it. So they get their rights. They have their rights. When you're law enforcement, you don't get your felonies. When you're a judge, you don't get felonies. And we're going to enforce you don't get help because we're going to prearrange it with anyone that calls you on your phone, knowing full-blown, well, no one would ever believe your story. So, ma'am, I'm just stuck with it. Like I've been all this time, been trying to fight, and like they're lying about my daughter, saying that there's nothing that could be done on the planet for me to report false statements and felonies, hundreds of felonies to keep me away from children. There's nothing that can be done for 6 years. So, ma'am, I begged for my life a long time, and people want to start arguments and put me in check and let me know that I don't have rights, which I don't. But I appreciate what you're willing to help me with, and I get stuck with the felony. This is how it is, not having rights in this country.
Okay, I really want to discuss the other things you had questions about, but again, you can't keep wasting my time because we're not.
I understand, ma'am. I have to take it. Someone paid for it. They have more value than I do, so I can't talk about that. I apologize. But I'm not very happy to have a felony. It puts it's devastating when you have to out of a lot of apartment complexes, and you can't vote, and it's just a lot of more consequences for a felony, especially when you're not supposed to have it. But everywhere you call, everyone that calls you is controlled, and you repetitively keep saying the same thing over and over for nothing to ever be done. So, okay, ma'am, I got it. Don't talk about the criminal charges these government. This is how they treat me in the hospital. This is how they treat me in a whole bunch of different environments to take control and enforce abuse. Okay, ma'am, I got it. Even though hindering the case is a criminal, you
Okay,
can't, as when you have
so
certain
now
positions, you can't hinder cases.
okay, so you mentioned that you wanted help with some sort of driver's license related matter. I can take a look at that really quickly if you'd like me to see if there is anything we could do to help with that.
Yeah, because they were
Would
requiring
you like
medical,
me to
some
take a
kind
look
of
at that?
medical something, and then they put something on my record that didn't happen, like that charge we can't talk about.
Do you have your driver's license number?
No,
If not,
I don't
I
have it
can
remembered.
find
I
it.
don't have it. I don't have it
You
memorized.
don't have it with you at all?
Yeah, and do I have any warrants for my arrest?
Okay, give me 1 second.
Okay.
And I do see a hold, which will prevent you from having a valid license.
What's the hold for?
And it does look like you have some outstanding Omni holds that are old, so they are potentially in warrant status. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. I can send you this as well. So,
Okay.
do you
What
have
happened
any
was I
more?
was in jail, and I was trying to get those take. I did not know that at that time that I was being terrorized by the police department. So a lot of times police were following me and they were stalking me, and that's how it built up to that. But I'm repetitively not heard. But I have been in jail, and I should have been eligible for time served.
You have to request it
I
with the
did.
judge. So, did you go in front of the judge at each one of these courts and request it? Like, the judge for each one of these courts is the only one who can grant that. So unless you made that request in person at each individual court that I just read out to you, then no, they didn't give it to you. Depending on where you were arrested and for what reason you were arrested, sometimes they do it automatically. But more often than not, and I would even venture to say 80% of the time, they do not automatically grant it to you. It is something you have to request. You definitely 100% have to request it if it's a whole different city from where you were arrested.
So
They will not do it automatically.
So as for the attorney representing me, what can be done?
Again, I'm not officially representing you yet. I will be once you sign the documents. But what we can do is, it's called a motion for finding of indigency. So our representation is unlike private attorneys involve you paying money that will then dispose of the tickets. Then once the tickets are disposed, you will finally have a valid license with no holds. And that's our ultimate goal. In order to achieve that, we do what's called a motion for finding of indigency. Indigency meaning, I really don't need to know the facts of the case, whether she did or did not pay it. And then I show the judge why you can't pay it. That's why it's one of the documents my paralegal will go over with you after this call. That document shows the court what your income is, what your expenses.
Well,
Then
ironically,
sometimes there's a hearing.
yeah. See, I didn't know what was going on at that stop sign situation. They were talking in the road, and they blocked the path, and I cut my blinker on and turned. I couldn't go straight. They were,
Honestly, I didn't know.
I know I like you to. I
know
just
it was
think
an
that it's
actual
very
question.
impertinent that you know that I'm getting tortured by the police department and government officials. So they blocked the road where I couldn't go forward, and then I turned, and he said I ran the stop sign, which I didn't. They were there waiting at the stop sign, but I didn't know what was going on with my life because I didn't realize that I was being stalked and monitored like this. But anyway, yeah, that's what happened. But anyway, so yes, I'd be very grateful for that help, and I'll just, keep doing what I have to do to expose that, a lot of court documents are altered. I know you don't want to talk about that, but at least you're willing to help because they wouldn't help me, period, for years, even trying to hire an attorney.
Okay.
So I'm very grateful for the help that I can get. And yes, if we can have a solution for those, then that would be wonderful. I've tried to have a remedy on my own, but it just, never happens.
Okay. And so I wasn't really done explaining the process. I just
Okay.
want to make sure you know everything. So another part of it is, like I said, once we file the motion, then the judge, typically we get it granted because we're a legal aid agency. Obviously, we only represent people who financially qualify. So if you qualify for our services, you by definition are indigent. So they will grant the motion. What happens next, however, is what they will allow you to do outside of payment. Traditionally, what the judge will order is community service. Of course, if I can get a dismissal, I'm going to shoot for a dismissal. And then, of course, if I can get a waiver, I will shoot for a waiver. But their default is community service. If you have served time after the date of these tickets, so for example, some of these are from 2012. So if you served any time after 2012, and I'm talking any time, for any reason, your felony charges, anything else, any period of time you're in jail, if you can give me that record of what the dates you were incarcerated, I can get you time served for all of these, and you shouldn't have to worry about community service at all.
Okay. You keep saying felonies like it's more than one. I can give you a date right now, October 27th.
No, I don't need it out of your mouth. I need a document from the place you were incarcerated. It's called a proof of incarceration. It has to be from them. That's what the court will accept. So it needs to be, were you ever at Loose Derrick?
They threatened to take my arrest. Hopefully I can go back. They threatened to arrest me for trying to get my release papers. They wouldn't give them to me. I don't have rights.
Was there like a conflict or something?
No, I don't have rights. I'm repetitively not heard. They get away with it. They have more power than me. You can pick on someone that has less power than you and have no consequences, as they've not had for years, and just control her environment and then make sure no one helps her escape our abuse. No, they're crooked. They took me to jail on false charges, didn't want me getting my release papers, and they had more power than me, and so they abused it. No consequences for it, so why stop?
If you went into this whole spiel that you did with me today, that's probably why they turned you away. But if you just walk in and just say, I just need proof of incarceration, and don't say anything else but show them your ID, then you'll be fine. But if you get argumentative with them and start going off into a tangent that, they can do nothing about, then that's probably why that happened.
Yeah, I'm not being heard again. I'm used to not being heard. I feel like I said I'm in the civil rights movement. I don't think that no matter how I behave that you need to withhold release papers. If I was on a tangent, you don't withhold someone's release papers. And then to give it, deflect on that you create a disturbance. I did not create a disturbance, but why they had no right to withhold my release papers and threaten my arrest for trying to get them. That's what I wanted to concentrate on.
They shouldn't have. You're right about that, but they will, right? Like, that's just how society is. If you do not cooperate and you're not cooperative, then that's what they're going to do, unfortunately. And I don't want them to do it to you. So if you genuinely don't believe you can do it, then I will try to get it.
But yeah, that would be nice, because they threatened I don't have rights, ma'am. So for people that don't have rights and are still trying to get their right to have civil rights, it would probably be better, because, like I said, I'm not being heard and I don't have civil rights.
Okay, well, I will try, but like I said, it's much easier if the clients can get it, because you are you. If that
I'm not. That's what you're thinking about. If clients have civil rights, I don't, and they get to tell me to leave and then slander me.
I meant identification. I meant identification-wise. That's what I meant. So that's why it's easier for you to just get it, because you are Kiana, and we're asking for Kiana's proof of incarceration, and just identifying you and verifying you're you. That's why it's easier for you to get something like that. I can try to get it, and they should release it to me if I have the signed retainer with me. If you happen to get it beforehand, great. If you don't and really don't think you can, then we will try to get it for you. You just have to. It's going to take longer, because I don't go down there unless I have to. So I will have to make the time to do that. So you'll just have to kind of bear with me. But we can go get that for you. Were you incarcerated after 2012 at Loose Derrick?
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
I repeat myself. My freedom has been taken 20 times in schemes. I know you're very particular about what you want me to discuss.
But it was after 2012.
Right. I have the 20-something false arrests. It started in 2018. And then the last time they did it was 2023. But they took me to a hospital. Okay. They're trying to minimize taking me to jail because it's too incriminating now. So they want to detain me, take me to hospitals now for profit. But yes, I have a whole bunch of jail. Since people were getting paid to arrest me, no consequences. They did it multiple times, free and clear of all charges.
Okay, so we can help with those citations. Do you have any other outstanding citations or potential warrants that I did not list? It is the DPS record that I just read you is not complete. There are 50% of courts in Texas that don't report to this system, and so if you do have, of any other charges, like tickets that are outstanding that you want us to help with, we want to make sure.
Do you show anything? Yes. Remember, I explained to you that I was trying to report the police repetitively committing crimes and not held accountable, and they gave me a ticket. I was
Where
in
was
jail
it?
on false charges.
Where was that?
That was in Dallas. I think his name was Judge Acuna. I went to court and tried to have him dismiss it because the police were breaking the law, and I'm just repetitively not heard, and there's been no consequences. So he went ahead and reinforced the ticket of me trying to report crimes and being violated by the police department.
Do you recall maybe what year that was?
That was 2000. I think it was October 6th. They tried to be funny and set it on my daughter's birthday, October 6th, 2022.
22, so fairly recent. Let me.
So they went ahead and so they
this is for last year for dialing 911 when no emergency existed.
Yeah, I told you what the emergency was. The police were torturing me and government officials and have absolutely no accountability for their crimes, wrecked up felonies. So I called the police or someone to try to intercept all this criminal activity, and they gave me a ticket to silence me and obstruct justice, but they haven't received felonies, so they keep doing it. All they have to do is just entice everyone in my environment to cover for crimes and disregard me, and no one gets their criminal charges.
Well, I mean, it's for those felonies you're talking about. They can't do it. Police can't do anything about that, right? Like, there's definitely nothing they can do. They don't know the law like attorneys do. So calling the police would do nothing for you in that. If you called them regarding your felonies that you were just
I'm not being heard. I was trying to get protection against the police and abuse that I've had to endure. Everywhere I turn, the one lady started an argument with me. I experienced things that I can't report to people. How would someone here act mentally ill and try to start an argument with me about something that didn't happen? But I've experienced this years and got put out of locations, completely innocent on blatant lies. So I knew someone was doing something to make these people behave that way. Not everyone's mentally ill. So she had just accused me of something that didn't happen and was arguing. The same woman that will not give me any information on apartments or anything wants me to do everything on my own, and I'm not even from here. She's a case manager. So I'm just trying to establish a pattern of mistreatment all over the place and not being heard. I'm targeted by the police department, and they control my environments. And just, it's unrealistic. So people just wouldn't believe that this kind of a situation would be possible, even though it is. But like I said, I appreciate what you're willing to do. I'm not being heard. I've been violated by the police department. You see all these dismissed situations. Is that a red flag? You there?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I do see a lot of dismissals. Those dismissals we were talking about for Dallas, that's what you're referring to? Yes. Yeah, that is a lot.
Well, I'm glad they didn't stick. They stuck me with the one in Itasca. And abusive 911 call when I was trying to report a police trying to set me up. And then they lied and said I assaulted them and evaded arrest in Itasca. No, absolutely no accountability. That's criminal to make false reports.
Oh, shoot. I need to go back.
So with the eviction,
I see a lot of dismissed traffic tickets from 2019.
I wasn't driving in 2019.
Well,
good thing about it, they because I reported. I know no one would believe something like that they put things on my driving record that didn't happen, so they went ahead and dismissed it. I'm glad I had that right.
You got some 2008 that were dismissed as well.
There shouldn't be anything else.
Okay. We just have to get your proof of incarceration first. Are you disabled? Is another question I have for you.
What do you, I need knee replacements.
Are you receiving benefits?
No.
An attorney for any of the expunctions or the traffic tickets that we just discussed?
No. I haven't been able to get legal representation. I've tried.
And then could you give me the years for your incarceration?
Yes.
At Lew Sterrett?
Yes. I had 2 April of 2019. I was assaulted and arrested for attending a domestic violence support group. And then I was detained for trying to get into a domestic violence shelter. So you don't need to know when I was detained, only the arrest. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, yeah, for how long you were in the jail. How long were you there?
I was in 2 weeks for when I got assaulted and arrested at the domestic violence support group. I think I had another one in May, a criminal trespass trying to catch the bus from Lindsay. I think it was in May. Then he did it again September 3rd, 2019, when I was trying to do a complaint when I almost fell up under a bus. I was in there a long time. They wouldn't let me go to court and eventually sent me to Tulsa Hospital. I think I was in there, that whole ordeal was 3 months. Then after that, I was released in January. They did it again. When did they arrest me again? I think they waited a little bit and arrested me. No, they detained me in June. Okay. I can't remember the arrest. There's a lot of them. I had some in Dangerfield. Well, no, they released me in Dangerfield. I'm sorry. I had one October. I had one October of 2020. They came to the hotel and gave me a criminal trespass and arrested me for asking what I've done because they didn't know. So I think I was in jail 2 weeks for that one. I can't remember all of them.
No, it's all right. I'm good. Okay. I just wanted to make sure you had enough time to cover what you owed to these courts, and it looks like you do. Okay. So, like I said, we will get that proof of incarceration, so we could just push for time served. Some courts default to community service. If one of them does order community service, is that something you're willing to do?
Would it have to be in that location where it happened?
No, I normally tell them my client resides in, you're in Tarrant County right now, right?
Yeah, my life in, I don't know if I need to pay it because my life in Normal, and I don't know if that would be safe. Community service for me.
I'm sorry, you're what?
I don't get law enforcement and I'm targeted. And I don't know if how safe that would be for me trying to be, because cars and different things happen and then there's no accountability. I just have things going on in my personal life and I'm not sure if picking up trash and something like that would be safe for me. I'm in a domestic violence crisis and not able to get law enforcement.
That's fine. Why don't we talk about it if that happens? I doubt it will. I'm almost positive all these courts will go ahead and give you the time served.
Okay.
So if it comes to that point that a judge does prefer community service, then you and I will discuss it and we'll see if we can't come up with some sort of option like canned goods. Sometimes I can get judges to accept canned goods. If you're in some sort of treatment program, sometimes I can get that counted. If you're in any sort of
addiction, I don't have an addiction, but if they need me to go to a treatment center and I don't have an addiction, they've already required that in the past and I didn't have an addiction. I'm used to it.
Well, no, it doesn't. I don't even mean just drug or alcohol treatment. I mean, and I was just saying if you were, right? But it could also be any sort of counseling. So, or treatment. I could get that counted as community service if you were doing any. If you're not, that's fine. I'm not going to make you. What I'm saying is if you were doing any, I can have that counted. But if you're not, then, maybe we could talk to the judge about, getting you to do some canned food donations or something like that.
Yeah, or either if they could order counseling because it's been sabotaged for me. Maybe if a judge ordered counseling, then I'd actually get it. I have been a very traumatic experience and have been denied counseling for it. So maybe if a judge put an order in for me to get counseling, that I could actually get it. You think that they do that?
Well, it'd be different in the situation. It wouldn't be like if you were ordered counseling in a higher level case where the county would pay for it. If you were ordered counseling in this situation, you would have to pay for it.
Okay.
So if that's something you want, then I can present that to the judge.
No. Yeah, things I
Okay.
don't have. That's for people that have rights. We got to realize that at this point, I don't have rights. So okay, you just have to get what you're given.
Okay, but I mean, like I said, I'm trying to think.